bookworms! Today I'm going to be sharing my 2021 series TBR / plans with you. I decided that it would be a good idea to do one of these videos even though we're a little bit later into the year now, but I realized that, I took that whole booktube break last year, so people might not know where I really am when it comes to certain series that I've been reading. So I thought that I would kind of take the opportunity to give you an update about what I am in the middle of, what I'm hoping to catch up on, what I want to finish, what I want to start. I think the video is going to be a little bit on the ambitious side, and the reason is because I know that when I get into series mode I tend to be very focused about finishing series, so I think that once I get that feeling that'll kind of happen, and I think there's a good chance that I will do what I want to do with the books in this video. This list is largely going to consist of fantasy series because the majority of series books that I tend to read are fantasy, though I do have a couple of romance series on here, but it's definitely focused on fantasy. I'm sure you already know the first two that I'm going to mention, but the first category that I'm going to talk about is series that I want to make progress on, not necessarily finish, but do want to make more of a dent in 2021. So the first series is Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. I'm up to book 3 in the series, and I'm expecting that I'm going to read both books 3 and 4 this year, knowing me, but I'm not committing to it. I put Oathbringer book 3 on my 2021 TBR books I must read in 2021, so I know that this is for sure happening. The only reason that I'm hesitant is because I just don't want to have to be waiting years between Rhythm of War and book 5 in the series, so I'm trying to pace myself, but I love these books so much that I really do want to start reading this next one, and then I feel like I'm not going to be able to wait much longer before I read Rhythm of War. So there's a good chance that I will completely catch up on this, but my goal is to at least read Oathbringer this year. And I actually have to read the novellas too, so I think I should read Edge Dancer before I read Oathbringer, and maybe I'll do that in the next couple of months. The next series that I'm hoping to make some more progress in is the Wheel of Time series. I'm up to book 4, but I am pre-filming this, and I'm really hoping that by the time this video goes live, I will be either halfway or 3/4 of the way into The Shadow Rising, so I'm being ambitious and holding up book 5 here, which is The Fires of Heaven. I really love these books, but they just take me so long to read. The series is a total of 14 books plus one for the prequel novella, which you're supposed to read after you read this book. So I don't expect that I will finish the series. If I did, that would be pretty impressive. I don't think that I will, but I do really want to read at least 3 more books in the series, judging by how long it's taken me to read the first 3. I think that that's a pretty realistic goal, and I especially want to catch up more on it before the Wheel of Time TV series premieres. I know that I've read enough that nothing past what I've read should be covered in the show. Because it's a TV show, they'll probably be laying some of the seeds for things that happen later on in the early seasons, so I don't want to miss out on those or be spoiled on anything at all because I really like the series. So I definitely just want to make progress in Wheel of Time. The next category are book series that I want to be caught up on, and I don't have too many of these, but the first one is Bloody Rose by Nicholas Eames. This is part of the Banned series. There are currently 2 books out. I read and just completely fell in love with Kings of the Wild, which is the first book, and I have been meaning to get to the second book. This one was actually also on my 2021 TBR, and I know that I'm going to be reading it very soon. I'm really looking forward to doing so. Andrew's actually probably going to read it before me, and then I'll read it once he finishes. I love this series, and since I only have 1 book, I know that I'm going to have no problem reading and catching up on this one, and hopefully we'll get a cover or title announcement or something for the 3rd book kind of soon. I'm curious to see what color the spine is going to be too. I think that'll be exciting. I also need to catch up on Hollowpox by Jessica Townsend. This is the 3rd book in the Nevermore series. It came out in the latter half of last year, and I haven't read it yet, and that's partially because I've been toying with the idea of rereading books 1 and 2 before I dive into the 3rd. Still not sure if I'm going to do that or if I'm just gonna jump in. We'll see what happens. But again, it's only 1 book that I need to read to be caught up on the series, and I'm not gonna have any issue doing that. I love the series so much. It's very whimsical and fun, and I'm excited to see what's gonna happen to the characters in this next installment. And then the next series that I'm hoping to catch up on, although now I'm thinking it's probably a series that I'm going to want to finish, is the Blood and Ash series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I don't have a copy of the 2nd book yet. I've been trying to put off buying it because I kind of want to get these special edition hardcovers that are coming out from either Fairy Loot or Illumicrate. I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with yet, but I know that Illumicrate's going to reveal the covers, and that will probably be my deciding factor, and I'm likely going to go with them, but again, we'll see. But I really enjoyed the first book. I read it in January of this year, and I foresee this being a series that I will finish during the year of 2021. The third book comes out in, I want to say April. I want to at least catch up before the third book comes out, and then when it does, I will read that one as well. The next category is series that I want to finish by the end of the year. So the first series that I have to talk about, and one that I can't believe I haven't finished yet, is The Witcher series by Andrzej Sapkowski. I am up to this book, Baptism of Fire, which is book 5 in the series, including the short story collections, which come first but aren't numbered editions, which is very confusing. I really have enjoyed the Witcher books that I've read so far. The first 2, the short stories, are my favorite that I've read. Pacing is a little bit off for me in the other ones, but I still just really enjoy the world and I really like the characters. So I do really want to finish it, and I've been meaning to do so for a while, and yeah, I need to get on that and do that this year. The next series to finish is another one that I can't believe I haven't finished yet, and that is the Crazy Rich Asian series by Kevin Kwan. I only have this one last book to read, and I don't know why I haven't just done it yet. I need to get on that. This is Rich People Problems, which is the third book, and I read books 1 and 2. Both of them were delightful. I read them really quickly. It's one of those guilty pleasure kind of series where there are terrible people and you just can't look away and you just want to keep reading about these people and their lives because they're just so different and so far from anything that I can actually imagine as being a life to live. So I find it really interesting, and yeah, I need to just read the last one. The next series I want to finish is the Cursebreakers series by Bridget Kemmerer. I still have to read book 2, A Heart So Fierce and Broken, and I just got my hands on a copy of book 3, which is A Vow So Bold and Deadly. This is a Beauty and the Beast inspired fantasy series. It's a YA series, and it's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the first book, and I'm so excited to continue on and to finish out the series. And then the last series that I'm planning on finishing in 2021 is the Adventurers Guild series by Zach Lauren Clark and Nick Eliopoulos. This is a middle grade trilogy, and it is so heavily inspired by Dungeons and Dragons. I've had so much fun reading the books so far. I absolutely loved the first one. I actually read it twice, and I read the second one last year, and that one was also a lot of fun, and I'm very excited to see how the series is going to wrap up. I particularly find it fun because I play Dungeons and Dragons, and I like seeing the different monsters that they fight in this world as opposed to the world that I'm in when I'm playing. Yeah, I just think it's a really fun adventure story. The next category is new series that I want to start. So kicking things off with Dune, which is a book that I have again talked about in my 2021 TBR. I am really excited to finally read this book. I'm still very nervous about it. We'll see how I feel about it once I finally get to it, but it's something that is definitely happening this year, and then if I enjoy it, I'll continue on with the series, but we'll see. First, I have to read this first one. I also really want to start the Bone Season series by Samantha Shannon. I just picked this book up recently in January on the recommendation of 2 of my best friends, and I think that I'm really gonna like it. It follows a clairvoyant named Paige who's working in the underground, and she gets kidnapped and sent to the city, and becomes the ward of this guy, and the 2 of them think they're gonna fall in love. I don't really know. That's just my guess from what I've read. They're on opposite sides, so I feel like there's gonna be that tension and it's gonna be a thing that happens, but I've heard really good things about it. It sounds like something that I would really enjoy, and I've been very curious to read some of Samantha Shannon's work because I have not read any of her books yet, so I thought it would be a good place to start with the Bone Season. And then the last new series that I want to start is the Farseer Trilogy by Robin Hobb. This is one that's been on my TBR for so long, and I just haven't ever read it. I always was kind of intimidated because I thought that the books were so long, but that's really not that long. This book is less than 400 pages. I think some of the later books are longer, which is why I was always a little bit apprehensive, but I've been hearing people sing Robin Hobb's praises for so long, and I really do want to read more adult fantasy novels by female authors, so this seemed like a pretty good place to start since it's so highly acclaimed. I've also heard that it's a very character-driven fantasy, which is exactly what I look for in fantasy. So I think that it's something that I'm going to end up really enjoying and has the potential to become a favorite series of mine. And I really want to just start it and get invested in the world, and then potentially read the spin-off series as well. And then the last category is series I want to reread, and I've mentioned this before, but my number one top priority for series rereading in 2021 is The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. So I really am doing this. Like, it's happening. I know that I talk about rereading a lot, and then I tend not to because I get distracted by like shiny new books, and I'm not letting myself do that. It's been so long since I've read Lord of the Rings that I feel like I'm due. Like, it's just time for a reread. Oh, I'm holding The Hobbit. Well, you get the idea. I'm going to be rereading The Hobbit in March, and then I will reread the rest of The Lord of the Rings over the course of the rest of the year. I've been so in the mood for a Lord of the Rings-esque fantasy, so obviously the top choice is going back and rereading the actual Tolkien fantasy. Once I do, I also want to get into like some of the encyclopedic kind of books that I have about Lord of the Rings, and I think it'll just be like a really fun deep dive and thing to invest my time in this year. So that is my series update for you. Let me know if there's anything that you are prioritizing this year, like what series are you like, I am finishing these or catching up on or making progress on, because you know, life is crazy these days, so we can only plan for so much. Also, let me know if you've read anything that I mentioned, and that is all that I have for this video, so I will see you guys soon in a new one. Bye!